Hello, 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 my friends. Welcome to the Oh My Goodness podcast with me, AJ Smith, the Joy Weaver, she, her. I'm stoked because today we have the one and only Janellea. She is a pleasure coach. She is stunning. She's gorgeous. She's marvelous. We're going to dive all into it. Here's her bio, but you should also know that I did a VIP day with her earlier this year and it was glorious. And she knows her people. She got me. Look at this. Look at this pen. Look at this pen. It's a sparkly edge. I went and bought 8 more because I was so excited. I have her. She's just astounding. We're going to get all into it. Here's her bio. Hi, I'm Janellea. I took all the courses, got all of those certificates, but until I actually focused on cash and clients consistently, nothing shifted. Stop hiring coaches that are 1,000 steps ahead of you. When I finally picked the right container for me, I stopped coach shopping entirely and took action from pleasure and structure. Oh, we love action and structure and pleasure and goodness. Would you also like to riff on who you are, how you're feeling today? Yeah.
A way to put me in under pressure. Sure. Uh, yeah, I I have been on this journey for 20 plus years where it started out as me trying to figure out who am I and how do I want to be an adult? How do I want to live this life? And I discovered pleasure first in my early 20s
Mm.
and have just been following that thread for all of this time. And what I find is that like every step of the way, every layer, there's like new things to discover about myself. There's new ways of being. And so eventually in 2020, I was like, I'm going to start this coaching thing. I want to try. I'd been in business for a while with another business, so I knew how to build an audience. I knew what to do. I knew that building the audience was the long thing. And so in 2020, I was just kind of like, I'm gonna do a thing. I don't know what I'm doing. And I just started to build the audience with no clue. And so for a while there, I coached around manifestation. And that was a lot of fun. That was super fun. But I found that what I was reaching for the most were the pleasure tools. And so I said, all right, well, I'm going to call myself a pleasure coach. And so started to coach around pleasure and went, look at that. Isn't that so cute? All of the manifestation things are still there, woven through like all of the magic that I do. And uh, in the last 6 to 8 months or so, my coach was like, "What are you doing? You coach people on business and their creative projects all over the place. Why are you not saying this?" And so now I'm calling myself business coach and offering business support. And ultimately, I'm sitting around looking at the work that I do with my clients, going, "Oh, look, I'm still doing the manifestation things. I'm still doing the pleasure things." Like, and if I look in the rear view mirror, I was even doing the business coaching things all the way back in the days of coaching around manifestation. So like it doesn't matter what the label is on the box. What I bring is my magic, and it's that combination of pleasure and following your dreams and building the business and manifesting all the opportunities that you need along the way to like pop you there and pop you into the next level of reality.
Oh, I love that. Yes, 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 yes. And I agree with like sometimes we get so caught up on labels and things. And I know that was happening with me in my sessions. Like I was like, hey, we're doing energy work, or this is coaching, or this is tarot. And then as I was doing them, everything was just blending together. And so finally I was like, it's just a session. You just have a session with me. We'll do whatever we want. But something I want you to kind of touch on real quick, because I want to give people more context to the color of your life, because I know as a volunteer and quilting, like, can you give us also like a high touch point of all the music stuff? Like you have built really cool, like you gave a good, but the people need context to like, you have done retreats, you have worked with top people in the, like, ma'am, I need you to like brag for a moment, please. The people need to know who they have here on this podcast. Like, girl, okay.
Awesome, amazing, thank you. I brag. I brag that I started out as a teacher. I was a music
Mm-hmm.
educator
Mm-hmm.
and translated that into jumping into music therapy. Got my master's degree in music therapy, went back to the classroom, loved that. So I am still wrapped up in the classical music world. My husband continues to work at the school that we both worked at all of those years ago. He's got his own thing. He's pretty awesome. And I've been with him every step of the way, building all of the things. And so think it was like 4 years ago, we were all sitting around at a party and we were like, hey, we should make a music camp for high schoolers. And it was a bunch of people in the classical world where I was like, oh, this is the room that I'm in. Okay. And everybody went, yeah, we should start this camp. It would be so amazing. And we all went home from that party and nobody took action. So I was
Mm.
like, are they gonna do this? They all want to do it. Nobody's doing it. So I sat down and built it. Built all the structure and, obviously got in over my head, got to a point where I needed to call in some friends on the organizational side. And between the group of us, we pulled this off and it became a vision. And we brought multiple years of high schoolers through this program, living, breathing, thriving. That program is off doing its own thing. I passed that off to some other friends. Rewind the story a bit. I spent a couple years as a stay-at-home mom, and as my child was transitioning to kindergarten, I assumed that I was going to hit a pretty rough patch personally as I needed to like redefine myself. How do I be a stay-at-home mom without a kid at home? And so, to sort of bridge the gap and give myself an easier slide through that identity crisis, I went out and started a business in the quilting industry because I have a background of sewing that goes back to like when I was 3 years old. And in the process of trying to figure out how to do that and how to do online business, I accidentally wrote a book and conned my best friend into doing the graphic design and the layout and the editing. None of those are skills that she really knew beforehand. I mean, obviously the editing, but like how to make it look right on the page, she had to learn all of that stuff for herself. And since it wasn't fair to ask her to do all that work for me while I sat on the couch and played video games, I sat on the other computer and taught myself online marketing. And so when we finally finished the book and published the book, we hit the Amazon bestseller list. Um, yeah, for like 2 weeks after the book came out. So cool, so awesome. It stayed there for like 2 weeks. And in that time, one of my audience reached out to me and said, hey, I read the book. I love the book. This is amazing. Can we meet for lunch? And I went, well, she's 84 and needs a knee replacement. So I'm pretty sure if she wants to murder me, I can outrun her. So
Oh,
I agreed to meet the stranger off the internet. We sat and had lunch, and she asked me if I had ever considered being a speaker. That's a thing you can do in the quilting world. This had never occurred to me. And so I figured, as a teacher, I can do that. Sure. So she paid me and said, okay, now that you're doing this, go to this meeting and you'll fill up your schedule with speaking engagements. That translated into a 10-year career with multiple national book tours where I
very
traveled
cool.
around the country. In fact, I'm in the middle of the country, very far from home at the moment, visiting friends that I've met on those book tours.
I love it.
It's fantastic. Along the way, I started doing a lot of pleasure work with Mama Gina, and that sort of coincided. My live work in the room with her as a pupil, as a student, sort of coincided with the lead up to COVID. And so when the world shut down for COVID and she continued to offer courses online, all of my socialization and all of my interactions, all of my activities transitioned online. And so I moved through that community and got into more and more leadership to the point that where, I had served as a leader in almost every program she had offered throughout the duration of the pandemic. And when she launched her coaching certification, I was invited to be a pod leader and shepherd a group of like 13 women through the process. I've done that twice just because I enjoy the leadership so
Yeah.
much and getting to know the women all over the place.
Thank you. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
bragging. And yes. So like, because I was like, this bio is cute and all. And also, you are
And
an
also,
absolute badass. Because I think sometimes when we're listening to podcasts too, or we're learning from people, we can easily be like, oh, well, they're doing this, so it doesn't technically apply to me, right? Or it doesn't, but you're across a few different things, but also you have enough experience of transitions and being like, okay, here's what I'm noticing. Here's what I'm going to do next, or here's how I'm going to step into it. What I'd love to hear your perception on is pleasure first when you're in transition. Like something you said, and like we've talked about this previously, is like, okay, I'm going to be a stay at home mom with a kid in school. Okay, like my husband's stepping into this job. Okay, it's COVID. how do you lead in transition times? Because a lot of people's first instinct in transition is panic, like run, like it's on fire.
Yeah.
We all have our first instincts of like, oh my God, no, no, no. And then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
what do I do next? So how do you lead from pleasure in those moments, in those times?
It comes down to the decision to lead into in pleasure. Like the panic is still there. The panic still happens, but in that moment when you feel yourself hit the panic of like, right, that's the time to like take a breath. Wait, I have to choose pleasure. Pleasure is
Mm.
a discipline. It doesn't just naturally come. We think pleasure is fun and it's wonderful. And so naturally we're going to do the thing that's most pleasurable in any given circumstance. We're not. We're not programmed to do that. We have to remember to choose it. We have to choose it. And sometimes it feels like a band-aid. Sometimes like it feels like a desperate grasp at straws to get you through the roughest of the rough and the most intense of the panic. But just that choice to look for the pleasure, to seek the pleasure, to try and find
Mm.
the pleasure,
Mm.
that's that's the juicy microsecond that flips the switch, right? And maybe the first pleasure that you grab is get you relief for 5 minutes. That's okay. When you hit that panic again, you go, okay, cool. What's the next pleasure that's going to get me there? How do I stay in motion? How do I keep reaching for this?
I love the way you say that of like, hey, like we're still going to have the panic because I think when I'm teaching joy, so often people are like, "Oh, but I'm scared." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's not a matter of joy replacing the scared. It's a matter of getting centered so we can be open to receiving joy alongside." Like I kind of joke about it like it's like the Hulk. The secret, the Hulk's like, the secret is I'm always angry. The secret is we are feeling it all, right? And I love something I always say is like, it's a practice. It's a practice. And so I love, 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 love that you were like, of course, grabbing pleasure isn't innate. It's not. It like sometimes sure
Mm-mm.
is escapism, but as a tool for centering. And I think so often, I'd love to hear your kind of thought on this. Our society thinks about pleasure as escapism, as a fanciful, and maybe that's like Protestant culture and all that jazz. But for me, pleasure was that is for those slutty girls that like the outrageous ones or whatever, like I can't, that's pleasure's not for, it felt very illicit. And I just had Eva Blake on the podcast. Her episode came out this week. Yours is coming out in 3 weeks. So I love that kind of runs up to this too. But being in Julie Wells's world, learning from you and other people, pleasure is a way of being. It's of how you
Mhm.
feel. And so if you could kind of riff on some of that of like what does pleasure mean to you, because it can mean erotic pleasure, and also it can mean, so for those who just have their hackles up of like, is this another sex podcast, is this like, we might talk but like this is more than that. But how can people find their access point to pleasure? I know I just asked you 10 questions. Go Tingo.
You did ask me 10 questions, and I want to talk about them all because you asked really good questions. Okay, so let's start with the erotic stuff. One of the reasons that you see so many people so out there, and sometimes me included, with the erotic pleasure is because most of us are like biologically built that the body stuff is a hack to the brain pleasure,
Mm.
right? It's an access point that most of us have already wired in. Ooh, when I get to sexual pleasure, then it unlocks all of those chemical endorphins that make me feel good. And then I'm in enough clarity and grounded in pleasure to then look for the rest of the pleasures. Um, some of my neurospacey friends have brain things that get them there. I have brain things that get me there. I have body things that get me there. It's just a matter of which access point have you learned as something that's easy to get you there for the quick needs, right? A lot of the people who use erotic pleasure as the access point then step from erotic pleasure to uh, sensual pleasure, and that's where you get the light a candle that smells good, bring in the warm fuzzy blanket, run a feather over your skin, right? It's all just unlocking the pathways to pleasure that are easiest for you to access. And like
Mm,
this doesn't need to be hard, right? Our culture just loves things to be hard. We love an underdog story. We
yes.
love a struggle story. It makes such a great
Yes.
movie. It
Mm-hmm.
sucks in real life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we have
Mm-hmm.
to like unhook from that and unprogram from that a little bit and let it be easy. Find the thing that already naturally is an easy path to pleasure for you. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what pleasure, it doesn't matter what path you choose, because once you find the way that's easy for you, whether it's body or senses or brain, whatever it is, then you get better at choosing the pleasure. You get better at reaching the pleasure. You get better at
Mm.
accessing the pleasure. Once you've got that well-worn path from, where you are in your panic or your anger or your frustration to the pleasure without bypassing, we're not bypassing. Those emotions all get their own say. But once we've got that habitual path of, oh, this is how I reach from pleasure, it
Yeah.
gets us to the next place where we can start to open our field, open our perception, and look for more ways of pleasure, more ways of letting it be easy, more ways of having the fun, the joy, the delight, and more ways of like riding out the hard times, riding out the times that we get knocked off our feet, because everybody gets knocked off their feet. Nobody gets out of here without bumps and bruises.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was one of your questions. I don't remember the rest.
No, that was perfect. That was perfect. I like sorry if you can hear Cosmo barking. Um
Not a thing.
I I like the reminder too that like we're gonna get bumps and bruises. It's kind of like going on a hike and then you're surprised that there's bugs there, you know, of like I tripped over the stick, when people are like, but business is hard. And it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes it is. Or like, I gotta find clients now. Like, I gotta be visible or I gotta like market. And it's like, yes, yeah, yes, yes. And so I think sometimes when it comes to pleasure, being like, wait, sometimes I have to work for my pleasure. Sometimes I have to reach for this as a practice. Like it gets easier. Yeah. Like now I don't mind making content. Like I can riff or I'll post whatever on Facebook. But man, years ago, I would like overanalyze content or different stuff. Even a year ago, I wasn't as comfortable posting some stuff that I do now. And so I like the reminder of we got flexy brains, we got neural flexibility that we can regroove and we can create. And also that pleasure allows us a pathway to our nervous system. I'm curious, do you have any pleasure tools or if somebody's listening, they're like, okay, like what is a mind way? What is a body way? Like you mentioned these different pathways. Could you give us an example or two of each that maybe they can go research on their own, but just kind of give us some examples?
Yeah. Um, a body way is anything that's sense oriented, right? Uh, we started this call before you started the recording with a dance break. I'm so glad you did that. I needed that. I so needed that. It's early morning here, and like I was still like curled over my coffee like a goblin with like propping my eyelids open. We did that dance break, and man, I was in so much joy.
Yeah.
And another body way, I went roller skating with my kid like a month ago for the first time in 30 years.
Oh
And like, holy shit, it lit
my
me up so much. It was so fun.
God.
Now here's some of the danger of pleasure. I was so lit up and so having so much fun
Yeah, that's right.
that
That's right.
when I went, oh, I'm tired, I should stop. My body is tired. I was like, no, 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 let's
Oh,
just keep going for another 15 minutes. And I fell and broke my arm.
yeah.
But but even that, like, okay, I learned. Oops, pay attention when the body sends messages. Like I know
Yeah.
this, but
Yeah.
learn again. So the pleasure that you reach for through your body can be dancing, can be stroking your pussy, can be going roller skating, whatever. There's so many avenues. You really have to try. You just have to go out there and try things and see what works for you. The brain way, it's the same thing. What lights your brain up? What lights your brain up to the point that you can't stop talking about it? Do you remember when Pokemon kids, like if you mentioned Pokemon to Pokemon kids,
They would be
they
like full out.
full
Yeah.
out 4-hour lecture on all of the details. clearly their brains were lit up. Clearly they found a thing that
Mhm.
really, really lit their brains up. So whatever your nerddom is, whatever the thing is that you want to geek out over, that's probably a great path to a brain thing. For me right now, it's old Broadway is
Mm.
lighting me up. Like the 30th anniversary of Rent is coming up, and man, it's just
Wow.
constantly on my brain. I'm listening to the soundtrack. I've drugged my teenager into being a fan. Like, oh my goodness, so much joy and delight over nerding out on this thing. Could be anything. Uh, Mindset work is another way, but if you're not bringing that joy lit up brain excitement to it, it's very easy for your mindset work to slip into unpacking your feelings and unpacking your unhappy and healing and fixing, and like there's a place for all of that. Like
Yeah.
we need all of that kind of mindset work, but it's very different than unlocking that, my brain is buzzing because I'm planning a thing, and it's going to have these 6 layers of complexity, and I'm going to collaborate with this person and that person, and then I'll bring this in and it's going to look this way. That's a total it's different. It's very, very different.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like to like thinking about the different ways things feel, or, like you can work out to exercise and like, excuse me, you can work out to like feel good. Like the intention of which you do a thing can have such an impact on how it feels, or how you're like using it as a stepping stool for getting back into your body, or getting into
Yeah.
like, okay, what is my next right thing? Like I think so often, like the kind of like how you mentioned, like the bypassing of like to skate around stuff, but it's like can't go around it, can't fly above it, gotta go through it. It's like hard, and sometimes we're bracing for impact. And I was just talking about this yesterday. Oh, it'll be the podcast episode that comes right before this one, about everything that's come in the last 6 years of my life, right? My hands going out, moving so often, my mental health diagnosis, like burnout, sobriety, faith shift. And how at the time I was like, mother, like, come on, work with me, Smalls. But looking back, I'm like, oh, that led to that, which led to that, which led to that. Can you talk about like how are you currently, or like thinking about pleasure where you are with where you want to go? How are you using pleasure to fuel? Because like when we look back, we're like, these things make sense. But I'm curious how you're using pleasure now to fuel the engine for as you dream forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. So I do a lot of things where I like to like tap into future me, and
Yeah.
like I one of the ways that I light up with brain pleasure is to look at the future, pick some points on the horizon, and figure out where I want to go and what I want to do to get there. That's fun for me. Like it's so much fun. And then a step beyond that is the thought experiment of how do I get there? But I know that we live in like this world where so many coincidences are possible and so many options are available to us. And so I like to just mentally, for the fun of it, map out like 6 different ways to get there.
Mm.
And they get increasingly crazier and crazier and crazier of like, well, we could do it this way, or we could do it this way, or we could do it that way, or maybe this will happen, or maybe this will happen. And I love like the fun of like imagining all of those future possibilities, all of those potential paths to get there. And then when it comes to like, okay, come back to the present, come back to what I'm doing, I'm looking for what's fun, what's the fun thing, what's got momentum, what am I already excited to be working on? Let me tune into that, let me work on that because it's fun. But also I always put off decisions for as long as possible. So if I've got 6 paths possible to get closer, I'm going to take a step on all 6 paths if I can, and I'm only going to eliminate a path as I have to, right? I'm going to keep as many paths open as as possible as I move forward, because usually there's so many commonalities. And I find for me what that does is that generates the most fun for me along the way. And it also keeps keeps the most options available to me so that, if something knocks me off my feet, if something knocks me off my path, I've still got two or three other paths open and available. And because I've already problem solved what they are, because I've already thought about what they are, I don't lose time going, what do I do? That didn't work.
Yeah.
Now what? It's like, oh, right, just jump over to the next path and keep going with that. Um, so that's like that knowing of what's coming and where we're going. Like you remember the thing that we did in your VIP day where we
Yeah.
literally physically moved through your path of how to get where you want to go. That that it's fun. It's just so much fun. And that's where that forward momentum comes from. And then in the moment, one foot in front of the other on the path, every footfall is an opportunity to go, how can this be the most fun? How can this be easy? How can we do the thing that makes this amazing?
Yeah. I I some two things you mentioned because I'm always like listening and mulling and then I'm like, oh yes, also a podcast. Which is the best part about interviewing people I adore is I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm just soaking it in also. Um, is one thing you mentioned about mapping out forward, right? Like some of us call it like future tripping or future dreaming or different things like that of speaking the future as if it's already happened. And it's so potent and powerful because it makes it lighter. Like, oh, okay, if this was inevitable, how would I show up? Right. And it's not saying it has to happen like this. Because when we get controlling and when we're like, it has to happen like this, or else, right, it has to be this person I marry, or it has to be this, I have to have these many kids and this kind of dog and blah, blah, blah. Then we miss the magic of what's actually for us, right? And Mama Gina has a phrase, this or something even better and greater than we can possibly imagine. And I love that because it allows us to dream without holding on too tightly. And something I'd love for you to riff on is in our VIP day, as we were mapping out, right, of my business goals, you also mentioned what is this going to feel like? What's going to be happening at those different levels? Because now where I'm at my business, right, I'm about halfway there, which is exciting of where we kind of dreamed out. And sometimes I get a little higher or lower. But then I go back to this thing, and it's literally right in front of me. Let me grab it so people who are on video can see. I'm gonna laugh if I accidentally tore out the page and put it somewhere else, which is entirely possible. Ah.
I love that you have that and that it's so close at hand.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Um, okay. Yeah. So kind of what we did is we mapped out to like my financial goals monthly and look at all these stickers. Go book your VIP day with Janellea. She's astounding. She lives in New York. She could also fly to you. But underneath it was like, hey, what does this look like in my business? But what's happening? What am I doing with that money? What am I doing with that income? What am I doing for my business? Which I thought was really cool. And then what I really like, and I want to encourage you all to do this too. I'm going to riff for 2 more minutes and then I'll give you the floor. I promise. Is like we put it in different spaces of like vibes, my creative life, soul delight, adventures, business desires. And what I found, like my big goal, right, was my financial monthly goal income for my business. But for what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 out of 5 of the things I would feel or be doing were not business. It was like the joy in my life, which I found so fascinating. It was like traveling and dancing and like thriving in health and taking care of my body and art things. And like, yeah, my business stuff is in there of doing my hypo work and retreats and being sold out. But it was so much more about who are you in this becoming? And it's such a pivot from, okay, my goal is $10,000 a month, or my goal is $1 million a year, or my goal is $5,000 a month, or my goal is, to sell out whatever. But who are you as this is coming, as this is happening, and who are you becoming as those things? I think that's a way more fascinating conversation. Yes.
Yeah. You're like setting us up perfectly to play this game that we're going to play.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's almost like I run a podcast. It's almost like I'm good at this.
it's almost like you know how to direct the conversation. Yeah.
What?
Amazing. Yeah, the more things the more things that you can make tangible and real and logistical,
Yeah.
the better. I I'm pretty sure this comes back to my early roots in sewing, right? You could look at the
Yeah.
instructions for a pattern and you look at the shapes of the pattern of like what
You're
makes
like,
a sleeve,
what?
what makes a pair of pants, and you're like,
Yeah.
what is this crazy thing? I can't imagine. But then when you manipulate it with your hands and you
Mm-hmm.
bend the fabric in the direction you make, suddenly the
Mm-hmm.
shapes make sense because that weird 2D thing where you're only looking at part of the picture, when you make it 3D and bend the reality,
Yeah.
suddenly it makes sense.
Mm.
So I'm always a fan of like how tactile can it be? How physical
Yes.
can it be? How tangible can it be? And bringing the senses into that like really really help. That's why all the questions about what does it feel like, and then all of the breakdowns of what are the logistics, how does this go, how does this actually work. Can we transition in the direction of the game? Is that okay?
Totally. Totally. We could totally play the
Okay.
game. Yeah.
Amazing. So many people have a really big ass goal. I want $1 million, or I want to make $1 million a year,
Mm-hmm.
or I want to win $1 million, or I wish I could manifest $1 million.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, but that's become such a placeholder, right?
Yeah.
The words $1 million has literally become a barrier to our understanding of what that is and what that means. And so many of us keyed into the idea of $1 million back when So You Want to Be a Millionaire was the game show on
Yeah.
TV.
Mm-hmm.
Money has changed a lot since then.
So much.
A
It's
million dollars
crazy.
does not mean what it meant when we all keyed into that.
No.
And so like we've just got this out of touch with reality sensation with the concept of $1 million, even though most of us want $1 million. So I want to play a game with $1 million. Now,
Woo.
I suspect you've got people in your audience who are like, "Bleh, money, let's do with money, and I don't like money." Here's the thing. I reach for money as a handle, the same way I reach for the
Mm.
label of business coach or pleasure coach or manifestation coach as a handle. It's a placeholder for the deeper conversations. It's
Mm.
it's just a generic vocabulary term that allows us to talk about energetics without spending a huge pile of time creating a shared common language. It's a shared common language that already works, that already exists, that we already understand, whether we love it or we hate it, we want it, we have it, whatever. It's a language that we already share. And so I reach for money as a way to shortcut the conversation to the energetics behind the money.
Mm. I like that. I like money is so it has been so sticky for me in the past. And I kind of mentioned this on the marriage podcast with Jer. And I'm going to have Christine Lucan on the podcast, and she's a financial coach. And I'm really excited to chat with her about it because I think for a lot of us, whether you're a business owner or not, in this economy, in this world, like money can feel so many things. And also like then when you have it, what does that mean about you? What are you doing with it? What do other people think you should do with it? How do you prepare for the future? And then things shift. And then you're like, okay, I'm not doing enough, or am I doing enough? Or I should do this. And then taxes or different things. And yeah. So I like that. It's just like, hey, right now we're going with this idea of like, okay, but like, what would we do here to make it cleaner? Cause like that is a huge and a wider conversation that needs to be have, and also is such a personal thing and also a societal thing, and all of the structures and systems that play a part of it. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's sometimes it feels a little bit like quantum theory with money and how it flows and the different ways it flows, especially now that you got Bitcoin, you got AI stuff going, that when you really think about how fast money is being printed in different currency, like it gets a little mind-boggling. So yes, back to the plot, as it were. Yes.
And we don't have to solve all of that in order to solve our piece of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we don't even have to
That's
solve
important.
our part of it in order to figure out, to use it as a vehicle to figure out whatever we need next.
Yeah. And it's okay that if other people don't have it solved, well, you have it solved. that's
Yeah.
that capacity conversation too of holding the both and of I feel okay, even if you don't feel okay, that I feel okay. And that, oh, that's a whole, whew, yeah, that's been a journey. Okay, keep going.
All right, you ready to play?
I'm ready. Yeah.
All right, there's a couple of rules. So you're going to get $1 million. You've got $1 million right now. You have to spend it as fast as you can. Spend it as fast as you can. Be a good idea if we know like what the things cost that you're spending on. Like, don't ballpark. If you're playing this at home, if you're playing this on a car trip, which highly recommend is a car trip, it's way better than counting cows or finding the alphabet and other people's license plates.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, have somebody on standby with Google. When you want to buy a
Mm.
thing and you don't know what it costs, have somebody look it up and throw the number out there. Actually, keep track of the math. So, $1 million, you have to spend it as fast as you can. Let's try and know exactly what you're spending it on and how much you're spending it on. Nothing wishy-washy. Here's the sticky part. You can't buy things for other people. If you thought of somebody that you want to buy a thing for, you want to buy a house for your mom, thank you so much for thinking of your mom. She now has her own $1 million to spend. You have to spend your own. You can't give the money away. But I want to support the cats that need kidney medication at the shelter in Oklahoma. Amazing. Thank you so much for thinking of that shelter. They now have their own $1 million. You still have to sell. You still have to spend your $1 million and you can't invest it because investing is a really, really good way to hide. Ooh, here's a number that's too big for me to deal with. I don't know what to do with it. I'm going to invest it so that I have more money always coming in. That's not the point, right? That's not the point. We assume, you know, we already assume that you've handled all that. Also, no paying off debt. If you have $1 million, you've already paid off your debt. So that's a moot point. Thank you very much. We're good. If you spend your $1 million, I find people in San Francisco cheat at this a lot. I go to play the game with somebody in San Francisco and they're like,
And
I
you're
bought a
like, I
house.
buy a
There we go.
house.
I'm done. I've spent my $1 million. Cool, great. You get another million.
Yeah.
And if you get to the end of your million and you like another million, you can have another million. Any questions? I'm watching it land. I'm watching the calculus in your brain.
No, it's just because I feel uh I know all the rules, and also it's like part of me is like, what a selfish. Like there's just a part of
Yeah.
me that's just like, you're not allowed $1 million. Like people are gonna judge you. People are gonna be listening to this and be like, AJ is spending her fake $1 million wrongly. Like she's coming, she should have said this or she should have said that. But also like I feel like it limits so much of what, because I was thinking about this when I read your form and I was like, okay, here's what I do, like, because I have ideas. But now I'm just like, oh, like half my ideas are just like gone. You've told me these rules before. Did I remember? No. So here we are
No.
again. Okay. Do we start? Do I go?
We start. We
Okay.
start. But wait, okay, before we do, that feeling that you're having is
Yeah.
part of the point.
Yeah.
That's totally part of the
Totally,
point.
totally, totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, okay. I feel like this probably wouldn't count and they would just have it. But there's so much land in Mississippi that is for sale. And I just keep thinking about like Native American reservation, how much land has been taken, that I'm like, it's like also like investment, but also protecting the land because the deforesting that is happening at a crazy rate is insane. And so I'm also like, can we protect the land and then also help have tenders and things? But I'm pretty sure that falls under the we're doing it for other people thing. So
Yeah,
okay, but that is,
absolutely, absolutely.
I just
But
want
it's
it
such a good
noted
idea.
that it is on my brain because it's just like I don't want it to keep getting, because it's happening in Texas. They tore down all the forest and then they're like, oh my God, it got so hot. And I'm like, are you an idiot? You tore down all the trees. Like what did you think
Yeah,
was gonna happen? I'm so furious. They tore down my forest, my sacred forest that I got sober in and clean, like it's gone. It's gone. And I could, I don't know. Yes, I have very strong feelings. But
okay,
I look good in this
what if,
orange. Okay, back to the
what
million
if,
dollars.
what
Yes.
if, by you bringing that into this conversation, you have already started the seed of that thing that you're dreaming about being created,
I know.
and
I love it.
somebody takes this and runs. And
Yes.
because we've talked about it here, energetically, they've got their $1 million already in hand, ready to go.
I love it.
We just sent
Perfect.
them $1 million.
Here for it. Good. Land everywhere. Ugh. Okay. I really want purple sparkly car. And we almost got ours wrapped, but then it was like a used, so it didn't make sense. I've gotten a, what do you call that? I've gotten things, quotes. Somebody quoted me 9,000. I was like, I'm not paying you $9,000 to wrap my car. Stop that. But I think somebody the other day said it would be like 3 grand or 2 grand to wrap my SUV. So I think next time, because right now it's got 100,000 miles. I'm not wrapping 100,000. Next time we have to buy a car, I think I'm going to pay 2,000, 3,000 extra to wrap it and maybe put my logo on the back so that way I can write it off as well. But that's so that's I don't know. I guess that's like a $30,000, right? For an SUV that's wrapped.
The car. Yeah, what's the car? Tell me the brand. Tell me the.
Oh, I just drove a Sorrento because we were thinking about trading in our car, but it was like
Mm.
48. I was like, sir, no. It's like my car is 26. But okay, so let's
You
say
have
because
you have a
car
million
prices are gonna go.
dollars.
Okay, that's true. Okay, so let's say, oh, that's terrible. Let's say 50,000 for a car that's wrapped. That's like
Yeah, and
new-ish.
it's a Sorrento.
That's
What color are the
terrible.
sparkles?
Oh, it's like the Galaxy sparkly pink. You know
Ooh,
what I mean? Like the purple. I've got it picked out. I've got my vinyl picked out. I've got the vision. Because I drive so much, right? With my festivals and fairs and markets and road trips. Like I'm always on the road. And so like
so the car is important.
the car is important. I have driven, we got it at 60,000 miles last year. It's now at 100. I've driven 40,000 miles this year. Like we use our stuff. I'm a thrifty girl, but also like we use what we got. Um, I would pay somebody to paint our walls, just like a couple of them. I just want more color. I
Okay.
don't have time. Um,
How many rooms?
just two. I just have two walls. Oh, three. One in our bedroom, one downstairs in our living room, and one in my room.
Amazing. What
I just
color?
want I think in here like a really light green might be really nice. I don't know.
Ooh.
It's just white and or like a mural would be kind of cool, but that feels really busy. But a mural downstairs or wallpaper, they've got like cool wallpaper now, like jungle wallpaper. Have you seen those like
Mhm.
academy or like dark academy? I don't know.
Yep.
I don't even know the
Academia, the dark
reference.
academia. I love
Thank you,
that
thank you.
vibe.
But I don't want it as that dark, but that like rich, like cozy. I love having the commentary people give me when they walk in my home is that it feels like a sanctuary, that it feels like a retreat. And that feels like such a gift. And so anytime I get to highlight that of like, hey, come rest, come be rejuvenated, come be nourished. But every time I walk in my house, I'm like, oh, there's so many plants everywhere. Like you look, there are plants, there are like artwork on the walls, like comfortable things, soft things. So that I think I would buy myself like a studio space or like I have my space here, but I live on a military base. And so having a central space that people could come book appointments in person, because you can only come here to my house to get one-on-one energy work if I sponsor you on base or if you have a military account, right? So I think that'd be cool, but also to like host group third spaces, like people want sound baths or things like that. So there's the sanctuary in Biloxi, and they've got a space that you can rent out and stuff. Um, so that the one thing I do think maybe this falls under the investing thing, but I've been reading a lot about the 4 trillion that's about to pass hands with small businesses, about buying small businesses and like maybe buying a small business or two because you can buy them for like 30 to 100,000. Like laundromats, things like, and I know that's not a small thing. I've never, oh, that's not true. I've bought my business that I have now, but like it's different when it's you're buying from a mom and pop and things. So there'd be a lot of training that would need to happen for me to be able to do that. And just thinking long term, like that would be cool because also keeping people employed, right? And like adding
Mhm.
income stream, I think. Um,
You're dancing very close to investing.
yeah, it's close, but it's a business for me. Maybe I wouldn't. Yeah. Okay.
Are
Um,
you giving up fairy hair or coaching in order to do that or
no,
travel?
no,
Okay.
no. It's just more of like buying it to fuel things. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, now I feel kind of stuck. I mean,
So
obviously
you've,
I'm still going on all my trips and stuff. I don't see a
yeah.
way to make that easier
So
or
by my rough calculation right now, you spend a little bit less than 200,000.
we buy a second small business. I don't know. Okay, I get my tattoos done that I've wanted.
Hmm.
Jared gets his tattoos that he's wanted. I think a family cruise would be really fun. I'd also like a ferry cruise, like just people I love and adore, whether it's my fellow
Ooh.
fairies or like my other LARPers or just girlfriends. I think just a little fun trip, especially all the last minute cruise deals. I don't know if y'all know about this, and I speak to you and also people listening. Vacations to go. So we're looking at a cruise in January. That's 5 days. That's $531, including taxes and fees per person. Right. So if you wait kind of more last minute under the 90 days, it goes from like 2000 or 1000 or 900 to like 400. So I found a $300 deal the other day for a 7 day cruise, but timeline didn't work out. But I was like, oh, so I would do that is just group cruise, fun life things, maybe like
So
I
you're,
guess I could buy people's cruise spots
you could, you
theoretically.
could. Yeah.
I would probably send them money to book their own spot. So that way I don't have to deal with the
Right. Yeah. You
who,
don't need the,
right?
you don't need the, yeah, you don't need the responsibility, the logistics of how they're getting there and when they're getting there and who's showing
Yeah.
up and
I always get
they
so
can
nervous
handle
buying
that.
my own flights. So yeah, we don't need on that. I'm always like triple checking. I'm like, Jared, double check my math. He's like, yes. And I'm like, okay, is this my name? Does this
So
say my name right? Yeah.
I know you've got a huge friend list. Are we inviting 50 people?
I think 50 people total. Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I do think and I was talking to Jer about this because okay, this is gonna sound nuts. I don't know. Don't judge me. Um, I don't know why I'm saying don't judge me. I just recorded, okay, side note, because you'll be proud of me, like friend to friend. I just recorded, I think, the most vulnerable podcast episode of my life yesterday. So it's the one that'll release right before this week of your episode. And I'm like, oh, but here I am being like, they might judge me for this idea. And I'm like, I got really vulnerable. So it's like, if they're still here, they're good. They're fine. They're one of the good ones. I think it'd be so okay. Context. The uh there's like you can gamble on the cruise on Royal Caribbean, and if you put in like $200 into it, or you recycle 200 or 400, you get points, right? But then you can get free cruises. You get like free cruise offers where you just have to pay taxes and fees. And I think it'd be really cool to have a VIP week or weekend where I can invite people to come with. If I got free cruises, it's like, hey, I'll pay for our taxes and fees. Come with me. We have certain times each day or something, or we meet up and talk about when we want to do something. You can go do your own thing. But I think that'd be so cool to have like not a Joy Weaver cruise. Like I do not need. It doesn't matter. But I think like well, just because I'm thinking about the logistics of having 50 people on a cruise for that thing, but I think there'd be something really cool with having an intimate group of people who want to do some soul care on a cruise. I think that would be really cool. So having like the Joy Cruise, I think would be cool, right?
That would be really cool.
Technically, that could happen. I could throw it out there and be like, I'm going to be on this cruise. You pay. That actually would be easy to navigate, and I wouldn't have to pay for it. Like people pay
Yeah.
for their own cruise to join the same thing. And then it's like, okay, you pay me an additional 10,000 or not 10,000, thousand. And okay, well, okay.
You
Yes,
clearly want the 10,000.
I guess. Okay, what else? I don't know how I actually feel about this pay to play, but like Living Brave Life, they have speaking spots and things like that, or like meant for magic. But I think I'd probably invest at a high level with a high coach that's just going to put my ass to the fire, maybe. I just was in Julia Wells's container with you for her mastermind. I'm currently in the Meant for Magic year with Andrea Franco and her coaches for all the system support and things. But I don't know. I really liked that one-on-one intimate support too. So I'm just kind of thinking about what that could look like. So I guess if I have $1 million to just recklessly spend, not recklessly, to spend intentionally on myself, that's what I would do. Probably upgrade my closet. I only have like 5 shoes that fit. I've worn my medieval moccasins so much that my feet have spread. So all of my super cute shoes that I used to have are too tight now, which is weird. So I've got to like purge some of my shoes. And I need to like patch some stuff. I would like, not that I can buy my own time, but I would like do my like some of my craft stuff that I've been putting off because I've just been so busy. I would like have a craft weekend with my friends and have everybody come over. I could do that now. We have
Yeah,
girls'
you could.
time coming up, but like that's not spending money. That's just something I want to do, I guess. Oh, have like a more full-time VA to take over a lot more of the tasks that I don't want to do.
So
Yeah,
about that throwaway comment you just made about I can't buy my own time.
I guess that's paying for VA and delegating. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
And maybe a
You're right.
personal assistant.
Yeah, of all the things, an actual personal assistant would be the most helpful. If you are listening to this and you would like, if you live in Biloxi, oh, girl, the amount of things I keep track of, I like mapped out my next 6 months. I traveled 40% of the first half of this year. I'm I'm not at 50%, but I'm at 45 for the second half. And I'm like, what the how did we what is that? What? Oh, it's wild. Okay, I feel like I'm off track for the million, but I don't know. I've hit my limit. That's all the
No,
money I
you
can spend
haven't.
if we're just like living
You
our best.
you
I
spent
mean,
about
just trips, right?
you
Like
spent about
trips.
400,000.
Yeah, but I'm saying if I can't invest in like my nieces, my nephews, my community, that's just money left in my pocket. What am I going to spend that on?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we could buy a house, like a lake house somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't
All
know.
right. What would the lake house look like? What would it feel like?
Oh,
What would
it
you do
would
with
be
it?
like I need it up on a hill in case it floods because we all know everything floods eventually. So I need at least 20 feet of space, right? It's got to have all year round, like a four-wheel drive car, but like all seasons with
Hmm.
like insulation and stuff. I need it to not, it doesn't have to be a whole ass house, but we need at least 3 bedrooms because our bedroom and then Jared's space and my space. My space can also be the guest room, which it is now, but like we need our separate office spaces. And then I need like obviously like my Viking dining room table so we can like host people.
What if your space wasn't the guest bedroom? What if your space was your space was your space and the
Yeah, but
guest
that's
bedroom was
like
its own thing?
more expensive. Okay, there's an attic that's like pimped out and the
Okay.
guests can sleep up there. But it's really
All
cute.
right.
It's one of those like, you know, in the movies, it's like the little triangle and it's nice,
With
but
the
it's
dormer
tall enough
windows.
that they can, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then we have a boat ramp, but we don't actually have like an actual boat. We do like a joint, what is it, like a timeshare boat situation? So you can rent
Hmm.
it for sometimes because I don't actually, my grandparents have owned boats. I don't actually want to be responsible for the boat. I just want to be able to use the boat when I desire. So
Both
we've talked
stands for
about it.
break out another thousand.
Yeah, 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 exactly. So we just want to like be able to borrow a boat whenever we want. So we're on boat rental situation. But we like got kayaks and canoes. Maybe we got a pontoon. Maybe we got like a small boat. But like, you know what I mean? There's a difference between like jet skis and maybe we have a jet ski. A jet ski probably is likely actually. But not like they had a houseboat. That's like a whole different situation. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Houseboats are
Um,
cool, but like I suffocate just a little bit thinking about like
yeah.
how they float.
Hmm.
I don't understand that part.
Yeah. Um, yeah, Jared got his tattoos. Um, yeah. Yeah, we got our space. Like we've got
I
our
think you get it.
LARPs and things. Like maybe I buy a castle somewhere for like LARPs to happen in for me to also have a space, but that feels a little bit also like that investing kind of line, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, because like
Yeah, because then
buying,
you'd have to set it up as an Airbnb for the times when you're not there. You'd have to hire caretakers. You'd have to hire staff to like manage the turnover.
yeah, yeah. So there's that, but
But
would
we
be
can hold
cool.
it as a possibility.
Yeah, possibility.
Just,
Uh,
just by thinking of it, it exists.
yeah. Well, technically there's a group of ladies who just did that in England, I think, or Italy, I think. They just bought a castle and they're doing like retreats and stuff and
Oh, that's
remodeled it,
cool.
which is amazing. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I got.
So how do you feel?
Um, like a few not nice words. Does that
Yeah,
make sense? Yeah. I feels
yeah.
very selfish and greedy.
Yeah.
yeah. But also feels like, yeah, this is a dream. And also like there are many facets of this that either are already happening or are in real time in motion to happen at some point. Right. So it
Yeah.
also doesn't feel far out. Does that make sense? Like it
No,
feels
it
both
doesn't.
of like if I bought everything back to back to back, I'd be like, oh my God, like she went nuts. But I'm also like, no, this is how I want to live my life. Like we want to live by or near water. We love traveling. Like we love our cruise life. I love getting my points with just using my cards wisely. Like I don't know, nothing feels too crazy. It feels crazy in a full list, but not crazy when it's just like these are things I do desire, right? In some way, shape, or form. Does that make
And
sense?
you're already living bits and pieces of that
I'm
reality.
Yeah, I'm literally in real time redoing my dream list. I have gone through pretty much all my dreams, which is so weird. It's kind of wild to be like, we made it. Amazing. This is great. I'm living my dream life. Okay, how can we make it better? How can we make this smoother? How can we make it? But it's this weird, interesting of like dreaming more and then allowing myself to dream more. So yeah,
Champagne problems. I think I was
champagne
28
problems.
when I hit like the end of my desire list for the first time, where I'm like, oh my God, I've done
Yeah,
everything I've ever wanted. I've achieved it all. I have it all. Now what? And like
yeah,
that's with we think, oh wow, how privileged, but like it's also scary. Because I was like,
hmm,
I'm 28, I'm not done living, I'm not ready to die, but I don't know what's next because
yeah,
I have it all.
yeah.
You
I
also you also hit a couple of really interesting phases in that game. So like there's a fairly predictable pattern. So usually the things that people spend money on in the first part of the game are the actual real world logistical things that they're bumping up against. Most people reach for housing first, oh, fix the closets or redo the bathroom or move to a bigger house or move to a smaller house or whatever it was. Very interesting that yours was the car first because travel is such a key part of your life, but it's that same, you know, here's the problems that we're solving. Let's let's handle that. And then,
mm,
the next phase starts to be like the bigger, what's the next step? What's the next level? That's where we talk about the travel. That's where we talk about the tattoos. That's where we talk about um, you know, the the craft weekend with the friends, right? And as we get to that craft weekend with the friends and the cruise with the friends, now we're starting to bypass money entirely because these are all things that don't require money for us to do, or certainly not a big pile of money, not the whole
yeah,
$1 million. Yeah. Then so those are things that are like really important to pay attention to of the what's next, what can I do now? What can I use my hands to pick up and start to build right now? And then you hit
yeah,
the really important question of like, how do I buy my time? How do I buy my time back? That's such good, that's such a
hmm,
good frame and such a good thing to think about. Because even if you don't have the $1 million right now, you've got something that's going to allow you to like start to look at that as a framework for
yeah,
your life.
yeah. Yeah. Obviously, we're gonna have to do some journaling about this. But now I'm like,
Yeah,
this cruise idea though, that's actually totally doable.
it
That's
is.
really totally, especially with the like last minute cruise deals thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you could have 5 days and pay what 1,700 total, right? So
Yeah,
that you could be a cruise in your own room or whatever, and then $1,000 so you have me for 2 hours every day or something like we have breakfast. Like, okay, I'm gonna have to do some mulling because that's actually entirely doable.
it's entirely doable. And the really cool thing is when you cruise with a group of people, like 30 to 50 people, um, it's amazing because you don't have to make plans. You don't have to make plans. Oh,
There's
we're
so
going to
much
go
stuff
to the
happening.
midnight buffet. Oh, let's meet up at the pool. You just decide to go to the pool, and when you get there, you're going to have friends there. You don't know
Yeah,
what friends are going to be there, but like you don't have to plan it. You can just show up,
Yeah.
show up to the trivia game and vibe with the four friends that are already there.
Yeah.
And adds another
Yeah.
layer of magic.
Yeah. No, entirely. Oh, it was so good having this conversation with you. I adore you. You are amazing. I want to know, is there anything else that you want to tell people or invite them into? Where can people find you?
Yeah, I sent you a link to a freebie,
Yes,
which
you did.
I would invite people to do because it's such a natural follow-up to this game that we just played, right?
Hmm.
You can go, you can play the game, you know, pause this, play the game, do your journaling about it, explore all the things because like even with your game, we only scratched the surface of like unpacking and exploring all of the things that the game turned up. The the freebie offer, the gift that I've sent you the link for, uh, is that high level strategy thing that you and I did on your VIP day. It's a guided process that like takes you through it so you can do it on your own and you can divvy it up into the different sections that we were talking about and really get grounded in what are my next steps? Where am I going? What am I doing? So the momentum from game to that to that activity, it's really powerful. It's really, really powerful. And, depending on what you bring to it, it can set you up for the next couple of weeks. It could set you up for the next couple of months. It could set you up for the next 5 years as a North Star.
Mm. Oh, I love it so much. All of her links will be below in the show notes. You are astounding. Do you have a favorite frame or a favorite moment from our episode today?
Yeah, I favorite frame the joy of just being in your presence. I adore you. You're so much fun. I've been looking forward to this all week. I'm on a road trip with my family, having the time of my life and going, is it Thursday yet? Is it Thursday yet so I can see AJ? Is it time to see AJ?
My heart. Oh, I love it. I received. Thank you so much. My favorite part is when I asked you to be like, please brag about your actual experience. And you're like, oh yes. And then you just proceeded to be like, and I was like, yes, ma'am. Yes. Thank you. That was great.
That fits in all of the boxes instead of any one of the boxes is the thing that always makes me freeze up. You're like, send me your bio. And I went, okay, here's one that I'm working with right now. And then you asked me in the call, and it's like, oh man, I felt that. Like, how do I explain all this? And just, yeah. So thank you for the invitation to like talk.
You're welcome. And if you want friend to friend, I am happy to help you hash out a bio that feels nourishing and delightful. Because mine talks about how much I love glitter and my gazillion plants and my geriatric dogs and joy and delight and twirling. So we can make
I
it
would love that. That
sound
would be
so fun
amazing.
and nice and lovely. Cool. For those listening, thank you for joining. I hope you feel as nourished and loved on as I do. Go follow her, do all the things, go like soak in on the free gift that she gave you. Like my VIP day was amazing. So, like, y'all, does work, is good, is solid. Go eat your cake, eat your carrots, or eat carrot cake. Do all three, does not matter. Drink your water, check if you're halto. Go live your best life, sing your soul song, and remember you are worthy of goodness. Bye, friends.